Okay, holy shit. So, there's something I want to talk about, which is I have sort of three very basic ideas. One of them I'm sure you've heard before, but overall I just have three simple ideas for... Let me just lower the game sound a little bit. Three simple ideas for how to improve the game. The focus of these ideas is for them to not impact casuals negatively, but to enhance gameplay through non-mechanical changes. So they are non-mechanical changes that have a real gameplay impact. So we're talking about things more visual. I suppose you could look at things more sort of audio-based as well, like more oral. But that's not. I'm not in this. But this is this kind of thing I'm talking about, right? It's not to do with the rules of the game and how the game works. So I guess I'll just get started with them. I mean, you got a little bit of gameplay in the background. It's whatever. We can maybe let that play out. Well, the first one is to do with your dodge cooldown. Your dodge cooldown is invisible in Brawlhalla, which means you can't tell. I am going to hop into training mode for this, actually. It's going to make it easier to explain. It's going to help me think. Why? That's not my character. So, thing number one of the three things that I'm going to present, okay? Your dodge cooldown in this game is invisible. Let me move my mouse. You cannot tell when your dodge is going to come back. You have to learn it through experience. My dodge didn't even come back then. Though I believe it's 3 seconds on a gravity cancel, so on a spot dodge cancel in the air, 3 seconds on an air dodge unless you touch the ground, and it's something like, it's interesting, I've never known the actual number. It's something like 1.2 seconds on the ground. Must be a bit longer than that, 1.6 seconds perhaps, something like that. And if you have your 3 second dodge cooldown in the air, it will cut down and refresh if you touch the floor. Not immediately, but there is. It will. So if you use up 1.2 seconds in the air and then touch the floor, it will immediately come back. There's a minimum of like 1.2, 1.5, 1.6. I don't know. It's between 1 and 2 seconds. But if you don't touch the floor, you get the full 3 seconds of lag. You can hear me mashing dodge now. It doesn't come back till I touch the floor. So one of the main problems that I see in gameplay is that if I'm comboing someone, so it is actually better if I have a sight here. We have developed through competitive play something that we call dodge punishes. Dodge punishes look something like this. Bam, like that. They tend to go, good weapons that have good dodge punishes will be white to orange. Weapons that have bad dodge punishes, like axe for example, they tend to just be like 35 damage or so. That's fine, so we have dodge punishes. Something that we've learned to do is to recognize when someone doesn't have their dodge. When someone does not have their dodge, and then to change our combos appropriately so that we can maximize the damage we get out of our neutral win. That's cool, that's fine. There is, however, some situation that comes up perhaps once a game, sometimes multiple times in a game, sometimes I guess in very, very high level you might not see it, but it is really only at the tip top. But you will often be comboing someone and you know their dodge is going to come back. You know it because you're tracking their dodge. You know that you can... So let's say, with a real dodge punish, so with a true dodge punish, let's say I get a spot dodge punish and I immediately get the punish. I have the full 3 second cooldown to do a dodge punish. I have a full 3 second combo that I can do, right? Well, that's not even it, but... There, I can get the full thing, and I know that I can't get that recovery at the end because his dodge is coming back. That gives me a window, right? If I get a late dodge punish, if I get a dodge punish here, oh, that didn't work quite, but he can dodge out. The idea is if you don't have the full 3 seconds, if you only have 2.5 seconds or 2 seconds, you often have to adjust into the knowledge that their dodge is going to come back in the middle of your combo. So instead of being able to finish the full Enlight Nair Ser string, which I've got input lag at the moment, that's why I can't do it. That's he says, you have to cut it short, and often you will go for a dodge read instead of finishing the combo. You can finish the combo, and it will work sometimes, because your opponent will not dodge. Although they get their dodge back, 1, they may not know they have their dodge back, 2, they simply some people when they get hit by combos, they just stop pressing buttons, which is a mistake. Right, it's a bad thing. You should be active when you're being comboed. There's lots of things you can do. You can fast forward, you can jump, and you can dodge when your dodge comes off cooldown. So, one thing that people have started doing is when they feel, it's more of a feel because there's no visual cue. This is my point. It's invisible. Your dodge cooldown is invisible. Someone, say I catch, what's a good way of showing this? Yeah, let's get you to jump. Wait, this, okay, this will work, so. It doesn't work because of the damage, I lie, okay. There we go, so see the final Sare missed there. So because the final Sare missed, what I could do in this setup, if I can get him to reset, is I could do something like this. Well, that sucks, that doesn't even work. Whatever, you could do, let me find an example for you to make it make sense. But the point is I can end the combo prematurely because I know the full dodge punish is not going to work. His dodge is going to come back in time. Look at that, there we go. So instead I do a pullback nair, I do a reverse nair, and I do something else. You don't have to do a reverse nair, you can do it with a regular nair, you can do something like this. Wow, okay, my inputs. There you go, like I just wait to see if he spot dodges. That's a super simple punish. But if I do the Sare whiffs and he can gravity cancel and he can punish me. So in the knowledge that his dodge is going to come back in the middle of my combo, I end my combo prematurely. Now, what I think could improve this is a visual indicator for when someone's dodge is going to come back. Now, I don't mean one to say, I don't mean a simple visual indicator of someone's dodge. It shouldn't just be a spark once your dodge is back. It should happen slightly before your dodge is back. What I mean is that instead of it being nothing, 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 you see I'm pressing the buttons, nothing, 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 and then the dodge comes out, perhaps 0.2 seconds before the dodge comes out, there's going to be some kind of indicator to show that the dodge is coming back, like a spark, a flash, some kind of wisp, any little visual spark on the character that's similar, you know, in the similar kind of levels of subtlety that you see when someone is grayed out after using all their options. You see how I'm grayed out now? It doesn't have to be noticeable, it doesn't have to be big or anything, but some kind of sign to say, like it's like almost like a loading bar. When it hits the end of the animation, that person's dodge is back. What this does is it informs the person who's being comboed that their dodge is back, and it informs the person who's comboing that the dodge is coming back as well. This turns... It's so noisy outside, I hope you guys can't hear that. This turns a sort of guess game at the moment, a very basic guessing game because of the inconsistency in which people interact with their dodge cooldown because it's invisible, into something more competitive, more meta-based, more consistent, something that you can start to make more decisions about. And it's something that you can start using in scrambles, in more complicated situations in the game. Because sometimes, even if you're a very good player, you do not have a good track of someone's dodge cooldown. You may catch it at a funny timing. You know, you may do something that you're doing a combo you've never done before. Like, it's just a freestyle combo. And what often ends up happening is neither player knows when the dodge is coming back, but the person who's in the combo is mashing dodge. You know, they're mashing dodge. And because neither player knows when the dodge is coming back, the person tries to continue their combo, they just keep going, and when the dodge happens, the person who was just mashing is going to get a free punish. They're going to get a free punish because neither player knew what was going on. What if both players knew what was going on? Why can't it be a 50-50? Why can't it be a mix-up, something interesting that both players can interact over? So adding some kind of visual indicator for the dodge coming back, both players can see it, both players can react to it, now you have a decision. Now you have something interesting happening, as opposed to someone's mashing their dodge and sometimes you don't know that it's happening, sometimes you don't know the dodge is, when the dodge is up, and then you miss and something goes wrong. Like it's not a buff or nerf in any way. It's a visual change that will turn something opaque and something that it can be very messy into very slightly, very slight difference. But this is what this is about. These are small improvements that you can make. You can do them. There's no issue with it, so long as it's you know, it looks good. Turning it into something more interesting, a meta game of sorts. That's thing number one. So a visual indicator to see when your dodge is coming back. Can you also think about the tension that builds as well? If you start seeing that indicator for the dodge coming back as the attacker, like, you know they're going to dodge. Like, you're, as the player, I'm talking to the players here now, not the developers, not anyone else, not spectators, but if you're edge guarding someone and you see that little, I don't know, flash or bar that says their dodge is back, oh, like, you're going to feel so ready. You're going to feel so ready to punish it, and it's just going to feel so good to do. Yeah, and it exists in training mode already, that's right, doesn't it? Sorry, someone in the chat has just... TheCheeseGrater in the chat, if you don't know TheCheeseGrater, he's wonderful. If you put stun on, it doesn't show dodge cooldown, it shows... never mind, it doesn't show dodge cooldown, it shows you how fast you can act out of hit stun, or how fast you can act after an attack. I'm not talking about that, I'm literally just talking about when that dodges back up. There should be a visual indicator. If there is a visual indicator, we will get more coherent, and that's the key word here, coherent gameplay. Brawlhalla is very messy, and we're all looking for ways to have more fun with it and to interact with our opponents inside the game. I think this adds like an extra element. So I'm going to draw a line there. I'm going to draw a hard line and say that's thing 1. Maybe we can edit something here. You know, put a little banner. Thing 1. Maybe it's up here, you can see it. I don't know. We probably won't edit this as we're going up raw. Number 2. Okay, number 2. Now this is an opinionated change to a degree. I think it's a quality of life change that would help everything, but some people may say that this could make things too easy. Personally,
Use fart.
Damn, thank you Damon for the sub. But yeah, okay, let me just trundle on. I think if you think this is going to be a problem, you're looking at things the wrong way, in my opinion. So here's what the idea is. Idea number 2. Directional dodges have similar animations. So, you have 8 ways you can dodge in this game. 8 ways you can dodge. So this is tied to dodge again, and it's designed to promote coherence and competitive gameplay without affecting casual gameplay once again. So 8 ways you can dodge, and all the animations, if we look at them frame by frame, they are a white circle that protrudes from you. Blah, 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 blah. And then you move. So the movement actually starts on frame 0, well frame 1 I should say, not frame 0 at all. It starts on frame 1, and then the flash starts on frame 3, and then the circle pops up on like frame 7 or whatnot. Anyway, because the animation for the dodge is the exact same, regardless of which direction you dodge in, that means that the human eye, in terms of reacting to dodges in combos, and in neutral as well, but mostly I'm thinking about the changes this would do to the combo game, what you're actually having to react to is the sound, which is quite easy to react to so that you know that they've dodged, but to find the dodge direction to continue your combo with a read or with a reaction well, a read reinforced by a reaction I should say, because it's not a pure read if you're looking at it, but what you're actually looking at, what your eye has to see is the movement. It's the movement, and if you look at how hard it can be to see, if you compare, look at what you're looking for. So 1, 2. Look at that. You can't see the first 2 frames of a dodge. 1, 2. How can you tell that apart from, you know, this is an upright dodge. 1, 2. This is a down left dodge. 1, 2. I said upright before, it was up left. So look at these 3 different left dodges. Oh, this is up left. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is pure left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then back again. This is down left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These, until that white flash comes out, and then you can start tracking the white flash, it is incredibly hard to tell exactly which direction your opponent is dodging in. In fact, you can only really tell once you've seen a lot more of that movement. Perhaps by frame 6 or 7. And by that point, how much of their dodge is left? Not much of it. At that point, they're in a spot where they can almost already jump. Add your reaction time to it, and they've already started their jump. Once they've started their jump, they're only a few frames away from completely escaping your pressure. Once they jump, they can reset to platforms. The game slows down. The game slows down again. So what my suggestion is to add directional animations to dodges. So what that would mean is early on into the dodge, similar to what I was discussing with dodge cooldowns, you know, some sort of wisp or lines, like air lines. Look at what we have with chase dodging, for example. So if I do, what's the best way to do this? You can't chase dodge off a throw, can you? If I do a side ground pound and then I chase dodge, let's have a look. Come on, chase dodge. Okay, look at this. You see this? Look at this animation. This is a directional animation. It's a different animation or it's at least rotated differently. I'm not sure how they've decided to animate it. It's probably just rotated, but it's actually, and it's not very clear, this one. You could make it a lot clearer, but you can see, like, because of the horizontal lines and because of the cuts in the animation of the chase dodge, the little white thing that surrounds you, you actually get a visual indicator of which direction the person is dodging in, which can make it easier to track. It makes it easier for your eyes to track and easier for your brain to react to. Actually having positive stimulus that engages you with one direction or the other is going to improve your reaction time and reaction consistency in terms of chasing dodges. When every dodge looks the same, you're looking at something very vague, this sense of movement in one direction or the other. It makes it very easy to read a dodge opposite direction, so if you're reading between left and right dodges, it's very easy. Your brain can split between them very easily, but between diagonal ones, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible. And to be frank, this change, a change that adds directional animations to regular dodges, is probably not going to fix that, but it is going to improve the consistency of some players, and it's going to help you bring out those moments in the game where you have a read and you know they're going to the left, and you have a specific weapon that can't cover multiple dodge options for some reason, and you hunt for a specific dodge, you prime your reactions for it, you get ready, and you read them and you hit them, right? It's going to help people just chase down and combo harder. It's going to help people chase down in neutral a little bit. I mean, you're less likely to whiff anti-airs if you see someone. If it's easier to tell if someone's dodged up than if they've dodged down slightly, it's going to be easier to track the game in general. Your eyes are just going to track the game more naturally, more easily. So, yeah, that's idea number 2. It's directional animation, some sort of lines that you can see added to this dodge animation, which is just a basic circle. It doesn't need to be fancy. In fact, it'd probably look worse if it was super fancy. There's a reason it's so plain right now. It's so that people can always identify it as a dodge. Whereas, here's an issue that BMG would have with a change like this, is it could make it difficult to differentiate between a dodge and a chase dodge. And they always are going to want casual players to be able to do that with no... Well, I don't say casual players probably don't chase dodge that much, honestly. They just hit the same button, you just press buttons. But they're going to want it to be as distinct as possible whether a chase dodge is happening or what a chase dodge is to the human eye, and what a regular dodge is, and the differences between them, because one is cancelable and one is not. There is a distinct difference between them. You can do one twice, you can't do the other twice. Because of that, you would potentially also have to alter chase dodge animation to add some distinctiveness to it, or instead of having a circular effect to, this sort of like sonic sound wave breaking effect that chase dodge has, you could just make it, simple straight lines. I can see you have got some lines in the back there, so just towards the rear of the dodge you could see very faint grey lines. There's a lot you could do, and it would take some tweaking and adjusting, and it's not that easy, but I also think it's a change that you could implement successfully with a little bit of work. Tiny bit of work to just to add enough animation so that it is discernible, and it comes out on an early frame, for God's sake. It's no use if it comes out on frame 5. Right, you want it to come out on frame 2 ideally, because that's when the dodge actually engages. When you start seeing that white light, sorry, frame 3. Frame 2 is still movement. So on frame 3, if this was a directional animation as opposed to just a plain white ball, it would all be a little bit easier to do. It'd be a little bit easier to see. The game would be a lot better, and it would also help with keeping up with the game in sort of laggier situations as well when you're playing online. Okay, that's number 2. And I have to draw another hard line there. And I'm going to be very quick with number 3, so don't worry about that, because you've heard it all before. Numero 3, number 3, is damage indicators. So I didn't want to put this one first, because everyone knows what it is already. Everyone knows, but currently in Brawlhalla, we only have colours for damage indication on that top right there. You can see orange, kind of reddish, still kind of reddish, still kind of reddish. I'd say deep red is what people would call it. And yeah, we have a very sliding colour palette that players have been using successfully, but if you want to improve the competitive experience, competitive players would like, and this is more focused. So the other 2 changes I think would affect people and help people across a lot of the skill levels of the game. This one is a little bit more competitive players only want it, but I also think there's room for compromise. I do not think, okay, first of all, this is to the players now. There is a reason BMG don't want to do numbers. I don't know if they feel it adds too much of an expectation to learn numbers and learn percentage points, similar to a Smash Bros. That's potentially valid. You know, it's a valid fear to make that change when it's been working. And the majority, the vast majority of people are not complaining about the number system. It's simple, it's effective, right? What is happening though is the game is developing to a point on the competitive side where damage values are starting to matter. Are damage values ever going to matter in single digit amounts? Is it more important to be able to see the difference between 80 and 90 than it is to see the difference between 84 and 86? Or yeah, yes. Although we have health-specific combos, or damage-specific combos, I should say, not health, they rarely, or no, there may be some, but they are not practical, and they're not something we need to worry about as competitive players. They're not ones where we need to know the exact digit. We don't need to know the difference between 54 and 55. We could do, and along this line of thought, what we could do is some kind of watered-down extra detail for the health indicator system. So while I do not expect that we will ever get numbers, and we should not expect to get them, and we should stop harping on, we should look for alternate solutions like this, we should push for something like a segmented health bar. So as you see at the moment, it's a solid bar, and the color changes as a solid color. You could have it changing as a color scale, so that there's more contrast going on. You could see how it changes a bit more easily. But or you could have something say, this is hard to do without zooming in. If I could zoom in on this, it would be really helpful. Let me actually do that. So let me see if I can zoom in on it. Game. Ooh, come on. No, that's not it. Game. Let me. I actually can't click on my game source. This is brilliant. Okay, there we are. Let me bring this. So, let me just make this huge. Right. If you were, I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, it doesn't matter either way. So instead of one solid banana, that's what we're going to call it, right, our coloured banana that gets beat up as we play, you could have it cut into segments, and those segments embolden one colour at a time. So you could cut it into 5 segments, and each one could be 20 damage. I'm sure most competitive players would prefer to have something a little better than that. They would prefer 10 segments. 10 segments is a little hard to fit onto the health indicator like that. Is it possible to elongate it? I don't know. Maybe we can ask BMG. Oh.
Use fart.
Hey Alex, thanks for subbing. That's weird that you're here. Anyway, you could potentially ask BMG, right? Assuming they want to make as few changes as possible, then perhaps, is 4 segments, 25 damage markers. Is that better than what we have? Yes, absolutely. How would that work? How would it all work? I don't know. But the point is, we need to be open to compromise as players to show that we want this change, that we want changes with health. So this is less of a single suggested change. It's more of a suggestion for how we should go about approaching this problem that has appeared in the competitive scene. Instead of pushing for numbers, let's not do that. Let's think about how we can, what do we really need? I think 10 damage would be ideal. I don't think we need more than 10 damage. Obviously, a lot of people would say with 5 damage. Every 5 health values, we'd like to see some sort of change that we can measure. Maybe you're right. I would be happy with what we can get, to be honest. Anything is better than what we have as players. That's not true. BMG would be the first to tell me that's not true. There's a lot of worse ways to do it. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Segments, a shifting color scheme, so instead of it being a solid color that goes up and up and up, you could have it go along. That's a really bad explanation, but you could have it so it's deep red on one side, and then it starts to fill deep red over the orange. As it fills to deep red, and the orange completely disappears, you know that you're approaching 130 damage. And even that would be enough for us to just learn. We could learn what that means at least, but these solid colors are not enough for us to consistently learn and recognize at the pace that we need to learn. That's it. Someone in chat, you want a visual indicator of how much damage is given? No, you don't need a visual indicator for how much damage is given when you attack someone. You need a visual indicator for how much damage they have overall. Say in between. That's another thing. It doesn't need to be readable during your combo. People want numbers because they want to be checking someone's health whilst they're comboing them. I don't think we'll ever get to that degree. I think we want, like the game wants to have its HUD tucked up in the top right corner as opposed to having it centered around the player in any way. There's already mods for that. If you want to do that, you can mod it. I guess it's not going to be in tournament play, but to be able to just see damage values during the breaks in the game, because it's a slow game, we have large pauses, to be able to at least check and know, like, okay, I've just been reset to neutral, but he's at this health, so if I hit him with this attack direct, like this signature move directly from neutral, it's going to kill him. At the moment it's a guessing game, and people just won't go for more aggressive options because they don't know if it will kill, or they will go for a stupid number of them, whether they kill or not, which either way it's leading to bad play and leading to a worse competitive experience for both players. So yeah, some kind of improvement there would be great. And that's number 3. I don't want to hop on too long on that one, and I ended up doing it anyway, but because it's been spoken about before, but I think we just need to change our approach to it and see what we can come up with. I think it's a great job what the modders are doing with, so for those of you who don't know, you can download a numbers mod for your health at this point, and it shows you an exact damage number, and it reads it. It's not illegal or anything. It reads it directly off the color palette. I don't know how exactly it works. You can find it on like online, but I would still like to see a change in game. Or, and this is the last thing, is a toggle. So Brawlhalla is started to use toggles because they don't, and by toggles I mean an option that you can flick on and off. So something like gadgets on off. Competitive players toggle it off. Casuals or people who are just trying to have fun toggle it on. People, like, it defaults to on, so casuals get what they want. They never have to look at that gadget button whatsoever. If there's a casual that doesn't like it, they can find it and that's fine. But you could do health indicator. You could do a toggle that is, simple or complex. Simple health indicator display, complex health indicator display. Like, you could put it in the options. You could tuck it away in a menu that no one knows about it apart from competitive players. You could argue that could give a competitive advantage to the players that know it's there, and then you don't want to split the player base between people who like it a certain way or not. Ultimately, if you're saying how it is good enough anyway, then I don't think that's an issue. Anyway, yeah. 1, dodge cooldown indicator, adds metagame, adds interaction, good. 2, directional animations on dodging, helps with online play, first of all, helps in 2v2, helps people chase in general. Why is it not a thing? It could make a difference, and it's not going to harm anything. The only worry would be chase dodges versus regular dodges. I believe that you can get around that. I believe Brawlhalla artists are great. That's flattery. I believe they're good enough to get this done. And it's pushing, the most important thing is that it's pushing the game in the direction that we want the game to go in. It's not just improving the game in general, it's not just a basic quality of life change, it's a change that's quality of life based, but is going to could help, and in some ways encourages more than anything, encourages the people to play the game in a more engaging way, which is one of the biggest criticisms that Brawlhalla faces. So, yeah. And then health indicators. Though I honestly care about the third one less than everyone else. I think the first 2 matter more to me. I want good gameplay. I don't like health. I'm bad at killing with SIGs anyway. But I'll cut that there. That's thank you for everyone who just sat and listened to me while I ignored chat.